class we're going to discuss about two questions which are actually important. They might be around 3 to 5 marks. Okay, both the questions might be up to 6. So the first question is this. Okay, this is actually quite simple. If the Lagrangian of a system is given, so what you have here is basically a Lagrangian of a system which is already mentioned. So this is the Lagrangian given. So you can have a Lagrangian of a system already mentioned. In general, we know that Lagrangian is nothing but kinetic energy minus potential energy. So you can have a relation between the different generalized coordinates, okay, and write down a equation on that. So in questions, what they do is usually they give a Lagrangian and you have to find out the Hamiltonian. So you have to show that the corresponding Hamiltonian, that means you have to use this Lagrangian to find out the Hamiltonian, and your answer should be this. Your answer should be this. So if I want to do this, what I do is I actually take the help of the relation that I know which connects the Lagrangian and the Hamiltonian, and this is the relation we have. Okay, so more or less every time we are going to use this particular relation, the question might be as complicated as possible. Okay, so in this particular case, what are the generalized coordinates? So when we say that x dot and y dot, these are nothing but the time derivative of the generalized coordinates, and x and y is the generalized coordinates. Generalized coordinates, when you look into it, we look at from the Lagrangian point of view because we start with Lagrangian. So we have two generalized coordinates here, one is x and one is y. Why this is important, that how many generalized coordinates are there, because this will actually determine what is your summation is all about. So you know, when we talk about summation, it is the sum of a number of factors. Here the sum would be depending on how many generalized coordinates are there. So since there are two generalized coordinates, so the sum would be a combination of two factors, one having functions of x, other having functions of y, and minus L. Okay, so this is the first relation that we should know. So what are my generalized coordinates, x and y? So qj dot would be nothing but the time derivative of the generalized coordinates, so x dot, and this is your y dot. And pj, I think we have not used the term till now. This is the conjugate momentum. We have a relation for conjugate momentum also, which we are going to use. So we have the conjugate momentum px, and we have got the conjugate momentum py. Okay, so please remember this, and of course minus L. So L we have, and we are going to actually find out what is px and what is py using the relation for conjugate momentum. So how do we do that? Okay, it's quite simple. What we do first is we find out what is px. The unknown factors are px and py, x dot, y dot, and L is known. So what you do is find out px. So for finding out px, the relation that we use is nothing but del x, del L, del x dot, and that is how a conjugate momentum is defined. Okay. So if you write down del x dot of the Lagrangian, so we just write down the Lagrangian here and find out the del x dot of that, and then we know that del x dot is only dependent on this factor. The other two factors will become 0, so it is nothing but del x dot of ax square, ax dot square. So it's simply 2ax. Okay. We can write this px is equal to 2x dot ax dot, and it's usually a good practice to write down x dot in terms of p also. So we'll write it together. Okay, always do these are some steps which are more or less mandatory in solving these kind of problems. So if you write down these steps, you can actually use it later to write down the answer in whatever way it is asked. So then we actually find out py, so we use a similar logic, and then we have one equal 2a y dot. And then what is y dot? Y dot is nothing but py divided by 2b. Okay, so I'm trying to keep it as lucid, as simple as possible, so that you understand each and every step. And then we can actually go back to the Hamiltonian and write it. So if we go back to the Hamiltonian, we have px x dot. So what is my px? Px is nothing but 2x dot plus py is nothing but 2a y dot, and then we have got the y dot here, and then the Lagrangian. So if you just replace it, what I suggest is you just practice it before exam. If it comes, you can straight away score some easy marks. So we have got x dot is equal to x dot square. So it is 2a x dot square and 2b y dot square. And then we take the values here. Okay. So we have seen that this actually automatically comes in such a way that you actually have 2ax dot square minus ax dot square. So this will become ax dot square. This is by dot square and kxy. You can do the maths. Very simple. And then what happens is, if you look into the question and you stop here, suppose you might get some marks but not the full marks, because in the question you have to write it down in terms of momentum. So it's important. So what I do is I just simply replace this x dot square in terms of momentum. That's why I've written this. So we have got the x dot is equal to x by 2a. So it will be px square by 4a square into plus b into py square divided by 4b square. Okay, please don't mix up a and b. Okay, like I did here. Please make sure that one is a, one is b, and then we have it, and then this is correct. Okay, plus k xy, and then you can just cancel this a, and then you get the final relation. Okay, you can see this is a very simple question, and the answer is also quite simple. This mark thing might not be too much. Okay, since this is a simple question, so this might be around 3 marks. Okay, I don't want to discuss what will be the question because the question is already given in the previous slide. So this will be the question, and you have to write down this in this form. Please make sure you read this. Okay, important. Okay, and one more problem that I want to discuss is on compound pendulum. Here we are going to find out the equation of motion using both Lagrangian and Hamiltonian, so that this is more or less clear to you. So if we go to this, so what happens here is that I am finding out the kinetic energy and the potential energy, but for convenience, okay, and for keeping it short because your marks might not be that high, I'm not going into the derivation of how the kinetic energy of a compound pendulum is half I theta dot square. I just like to give you this basic idea that when we consider a compound pendulum, it's not like a simple pendulum. A simple pendulum will be nothing but a single particle. Okay, in general we say it's a bob. Okay, so we can assume it to be a one particle system, but basically this one actually oscillates. The bob oscillates, so which is connected to the wire of length L, or any thread of length L. But when we consider a compound pendulum, it is basically composed of a number of particles. So you can have a system something like this, where you can have a particle here, particle here, particle here, particle here, and so on. So we really want to balance it, okay, and want to find out a way. We actually use the concept of center of mass, okay, CM, center of mass. So if you consider something like center of mass, you can consider that that is the point about which we can actually balance the system, or that is the point about which the radius of gyration will be measured, and so on, and the weight of the system acts to that point, and we have got this as nothing but m into g, which is the weight. So if we actually consider a number of points and we actually really want to know what is the effect, and of course this is nothing but in a rotational motion, we come into the idea of moment of inertia. And from this we actually have the relation T is equal to half I theta dot square. So you're not going to derive it in your exam. The question is asked, you're basically going to write down that the kinetic energy T is equal to half I theta dot square. So it depends on your memory that you should actually remember this. In a similar way, on how we actually found out what is the potential energy of simple pendulum, for a compound pendulum also we can actually use a similar relation, and V is equal to minus mgl sin theta. This minus is very important. Please don't miss this out. Okay, so this is something which you have to remember. Okay, please try to remember this. If you need the derivation, you can suppose Google it, or I can actually teach you in case you are interested. But for ease of things, let's just keep it as simple as possible. So Lagrangian is equal to T minus V. So T is equal to half theta dot square, and then minus V, and V is nothing but minus minus, that is a minus, so it becomes plus. So this is mgl cos theta. Now having said that I have the Lagrangian, I want to find out the equation of motion. I'll do it. Okay, please try to understand what kind of questions might be possible here. Of course, it cannot be a question that write down the Lagrangian of a compound pendulum, because this is more or less based on memory. So if I ask you a question, I'll ask you to find out the equation of motion of a compound pendulum using Lagrangian. So you have the Lagrange's equation of motion d dt of del L del theta minus del L del theta is equal to 0. In this case, we also have only one generalized coordinate, that is only theta. Okay, we have theta as the generalized coordinate, so we have only one equation. In case there are, like the previous case, we have you might have two equations. Okay, you might have d dt of, if you go into the previous case, okay, let me just tell you this. If you have you have x and y as the generalized coordinate, so the equations may be written in the form d dt of del L del x dot minus del L del x is equal to 0, and dt of del L del y dot minus del L del y is equal to 0. So it all depends on how many coordinates you have, generalized coordinates you have. So this problem has only one generalized coordinate. So what I write is ddt of del L del x dot minus del del theta is equal to 0. Sorry, theta dot, not x. So del L del theta dot, you know, this is only a function of theta dot on this case. Here it is only a function of theta. So this is ignored or cancelled. It gets 0. So we can actually write down 2 theta dot, 2 gets cancelled. So there's nothing but I theta dot. And then minus del L del theta. And what is L? L is nothing but mgl cos theta. So we can take a dd theta of cos theta, which is minus sin theta. So we have a minus sign here. Please don't mix these minus and plus. It's very important. Do it with a cool head, okay, so that you are not confused. So then what I have is I theta double dot, because ddt of theta dot is theta double dot, minus minus become plus mgl cos theta, and then finally we can divide throughout by I, and then I theta double dot is equal to mgl by sin theta is equal to 0. Now this is simple. Okay? This is something which you have done before, and this is simple. But then can I find out the same relation using Hamiltonian? And that is what we are going to see, which is important, because we are going to find the same relation using Lagrangian as well as Hamiltonian, right? If Hamiltonian and Lagrangian are describing the same system, only with different coordinate systems, let's say one has got momentum involved, other has got the time derivative of the generalized coordinate, answer should not change. The equation of motion more or less remain the same. So does that happen? So this is why we are actually doing it both using Hamiltonian as well as the Lagrangian. So we have done it using Lagrangian and we have the relation. Let's find out using the Hamiltonian. So once we have the Lagrangian, okay, we have the Lagrangian, we are going to use whatever we have done in the previous example. So we have the Lagrangian. What is our Lagrangian? This is our Lagrangian, okay. Please don't get confused, remember. So we can use this to actually find out what is the Hamiltonian. So if you consider the conjugate momentum, we have p theta is equal to del L del theta dot, which is equal to I theta dot. Okay. So we can actually find out I theta dot, and then we can write down theta dot in terms of p theta. So theta dot is equal to p theta by I. As we have done before, okay. It is always better to write this down because this will be used somewhere down the line. So then Pj Qj dot minus L, as I told you, this summation will depend on how many generalized coordinates are here. We only have one generalized coordinate, which is theta. So that means we have got just one term here. So this becomes simpler. So this is P theta, theta dot minus L. But then we know that in the next steps, we don't keep it as P theta. We write it down in terms of whatever factors are there in the Lagrangian. So we have got P theta. P theta is I theta dot. So we'll then place it here. So we have got I theta dot square minus, we'll just write down the Lagrangian, minus half theta I theta square minus mgl cos theta. Well, quite magically, in fact, mathematically, this comes out that this factor and this factor most of the times will remain the same. Okay, it will be in the same units rather. So you can always do the maths here. So this is 1 minus half, so which is nothing but half I theta dot square minus mgl cos theta. So till now the thing is simple. And then I will write it down in terms of momentum. So I'll just replace this theta dot. Theta dot is p theta by I. So I'll put p theta by I. So it is I into p theta divided by I whole square minus mgl cos theta. Okay. So then I can write it down as p theta square divided by 2I. You can actually get the maths. I square gets cancelled and we have this. So this is nothing but kinetic energy plus potential energy. Now you might ask, okay, why it is kinetic energy plus potential energy? Well, you see here, if you look into this particular relation, this is half I theta dot square plus mg cos theta. Okay, so if I want to write it down in terms of the Hamiltonian, this might be this plus this. Okay, so that means if you take the kinetic energy plus the potential energy including the sun, you should get this relation, so that this is nothing but the Hamiltonian. Here also it's the same, actually it's the same. See, this is the same, half I theta dot square plus minus mgl cos theta. So this is nothing but kinetic energy plus potential energy. I'm just writing it down in terms of p theta, but the original relation is more or less this. So that means in case we have the Hamiltonian as the kinetic energy plus the potential energy, we can in one sentence say that the system is more or less conservative in nature. Okay, so I hope you remember that conservative idea. Okay, the total energy of the system more or less will not change. Okay, because this is something which we have seen also in generalized coordinates. And when we said that linear momentum is conserved, linear momentum is conserved means ddt of the momentum is more or less zero, so the momentum is constant. So in this case, if we say that the system is conservative, means that the Hamiltonian is kinetic energy plus potential energy, and this shows that the system is conservative in nature. So let's proceed now. So now what we are going to do is we are going to use the equation of motion of Hamiltonian. Okay. So before I do that, I hope you remember yesterday's class. Okay. And let me just go back and then see. Yeah. So this one was something which we already had. Okay. And then we know that this is the equation, Hamilton's equation. So what we are going to do is, in order to relate it with Lagrangian, we are going to find out solve the Hamilton equation. Okay, that is important. So please don't miss out the formula, very important. So if we proceed now, what we have is this. So we have got theta dot is equal to del h del theta, del p theta. So that is nothing but Hamilton's equation of motion. Okay, and then we have got p theta dot, which is minus del h theta. Please don't miss out the minus sign. Okay, we have only one generalized coordinate, so we have got these two equations. If there were two generalized coordinates, we'll have four equations in one. Okay, so please don't get confused here. So let's find out what is del h del p theta. So del h del p theta. Let be a bit clear why we have written this equation in terms of p theta, because if you want to find out the Hamilton's equation, we actually have to write it down in terms of p theta. So we cannot really stop here. We have to write it down in terms of p theta. Once said that, once written, we have in terms of p theta, we can actually find out what is del h del p theta, and then that is nothing but del p theta of whatever Hamiltonian you have put that equation. We have done it on previous slide, and this is nothing but p theta divided by I. Simple. And then again we can actually write down del h del theta, and then what is del h del theta is nothing but del theta of p theta square divided by 2i minus mg sine theta. Here it is only a function of theta, so we can just have it as mgl sine theta. Okay, since it's d del theta cos theta, it's minus, so it is minus becomes plus, so we have got mgl sine theta. Okay. So if we put this particular or the derivations in this equation, we actually get the equation of motion. There's nothing new. It's just del h del theta of p theta only. So it is p theta by I. This is fine. But here del h del theta we have found out. Del h del theta we have found out, which is nothing but mgl sine theta. But there will be a minus sign before this, so we have just put a minus sign before this. So these are the two equations we have. Okay, and okay. So what we have here is nothing but a p theta dot, and then that is nothing but you have to put a minus sign. Please don't mix this up. Okay, this is very important because p theta dot is equal to minus del h del theta, and then we have del h del theta, but we need to put a minus sign. If you don't put a minus sign and you continue with that, probably you won't get marks for that after this step. Okay, very important. So just mark this as number 1, 2a and 2 marked it for keeping it simple. So basically from 2a, what we have is theta dot. Okay, so we can actually double differentiate it and find out theta double dot. So you have theta double dot is equal to theta dot divided by I, or p theta dot is equal to I theta double dot. Now you might ask me, why did I differentiate it again? For the simple reason that I want to connect these two relations. Okay, I want to connect these two relations. So if I want to connect these two relations and I want to remove p theta from it, I have to write down this p theta in terms of theta. So I want to remove the momentum factor and write down this p theta in terms of theta. For this, what I do is I'll just check this. But here it is p theta dot, and here I have got just p theta. So what I do is I differentiate it so that I get theta dot is equal to p theta dot by I. So I've got p theta by I, or p theta dot is equal to I theta double dot. So I can replace it here. So we have got p theta dot. So p theta dot can be written as I theta double dot is equal to minus mgl sine theta. So this is minus mgl sine theta. So when we have this, we can actually write it down as I theta double dot plus mgl sine theta is equal to 0. Or we can actually divide through by I, and we have got theta double dot plus mgl by I sine theta. Now, what does this signify? It signifies that this is more or less the same as Lagrangian. So whether you are using the Lagrangian approach or you are using the Hamiltonian approach, more or less you are getting the same answer. You might ask that from physics point of view, what is the use of using or knowing Hamiltonian in addition if we are actually finding out the same answer using the Hamiltonian also? The answer is actually a bit more complex, because what happens is we are doing very simple problems. Okay, we are not going into complicated problems, but sometimes what happens is if you're using or solving some answers which actually read more information, okay, it should have the information about momentum and so on. We also need the Hamilton's equations of motion. It's a different approach to solve problems. Depending on the problem, the things gets more or less easier. Okay, so this is why we are actually using these kind of approaches. So to make you a bit happy, this is something which we have today. Okay.